Hey, hope you're doing well. So, there's been a lot of talk lately about Social Security, and honestly, it's something that affects just about everyone. If you're receiving Social Security benefits like retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, spousal, or SSI, or if you're on a low or fixed income, or even a VA beneficiary, these updates could impact you directly. Whether you're already collecting benefits, getting close to retirement, or just starting your career, this isn't something you can ignore. And here's the thing, there are some major concerns right now about possible cuts, budget shifts, and even how Social Security data is being handled. You might have seen headlines about Elon Musk's involvement or the Department of Government Efficiency, but what does it actually mean for you? Are benefits being reduced? Is there a real risk to the program? This is one of those topics where misinformation spreads fast, and that's why it's so important to break it all down. A lot of people depend on Social Security, not just retirees, but also people with disabilities and survivors of deceased workers. So, any changes, even if they seem small, can have a huge impact. That's exactly what we're going to go over today, and by the end, you'll have a clear understanding of what's happening, what's at risk, and what you can do about it. And real quick, if you find this kind of content helpful, consider subscribing. It really helps out, and I appreciate everyone who takes the time to watch and stay informed. Now, let's talk about what's going on. A lot of the concern right now comes from the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, which is being led by Elon Musk. If you're wondering what that means for Social Security, you're not alone. The idea behind DOGE is to cut down on government spending, which sounds good on paper. But when you start looking at what that actually involves, it actually gets complicated. One of the biggest fears is that these cuts could impact the Social Security Administration itself. Not necessarily cutting benefits directly, at least, not yet, but by reducing funding for the agency that runs the program. If that happens, it could mean longer wait times, fewer resources, and more delays when people need help with their benefits. So, some lawmakers and advocacy groups are saying that Musk and DOGE are looking to radically downsize Social Security, meaning fewer workers and possibly less funding to handle payments and claims. That's a big deal, because the system already struggles with delays. Right now, if you apply for Social Security disability insurance, for example, you could be waiting months, or even over a year, before your claim is processed. If funding is cut further, those delays could get even worse. And then there's another issue, one that's making people even more nervous. Reports are coming out that DOGE has been trying to access government data systems, including Social Security's. That might not sound like a big deal at first, but think about what the Social Security Administration holds: bank account details, Social Security numbers, medical records, citizenship status. This is sensitive information for millions of people. That's why some lawmakers are pushing back hard, saying that this is an invasion of privacy. A federal judge even stepped in to temporarily block DOGE from accessing Treasury records, but the concern is still there. If these cuts go through and the agency loses funding, that could also make the system more vulnerable to fraud or data breaches. Another big question people are asking is whether this is actually going to affect their Social Security checks. Right now, the government is saying that benefits won't be touched. In fact, Trump has repeated multiple times that Social Security is off limits and that he wants to protect it. But at the same time, his administration is pushing for spending cuts, and when you're trying to cut $2 trillion from the budget, it's hard to avoid programs like Social Security. The reality is, Social Security already has funding challenges. The trust fund that helps pay out benefits is projected to run out by 2033. If nothing is done before then, benefits would have to be reduced to about 79% of what's currently scheduled. That means if someone was supposed to get $2,000 a month, they'd only receive about $1,580. And that's without any additional cuts. So if there are funding reductions or administrative cuts on top of that, it could make things even worse. Some people are also wondering about Musk's recent claims that there's massive fraud in the Social Security system. He posted online that over $100 billion a year could be going to people who don't have social security numbers or valid identification. But here's the thing, there's no concrete evidence of that. Yes, fraud exists in every large program, but most experts agree that it's nowhere near the scale Musk is suggesting. If the government starts cracking down on suspected fraud in a way that's too aggressive, it could lead to people who actually qualify for benefits getting caught in the middle, facing delays or having their payments stopped by mistake. And if there's already a backlog in processing claims, imagine how much worse it could get if the agency is overwhelmed with new investigations. Now, let's talk about something else that's been making headlines: the proposal to eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits. At first glance, this sounds like great news, right? Less tax on your benefits means more money in your pocket. But there's a catch. Right now, the taxes collected from Social Security benefits help fund the program. If that revenue goes away, the trust fund could run out even faster. Some estimates suggest that eliminating these taxes could push up the depletion date from 2033 to 2032, or even earlier, unless new revenue sources are introduced. And here's another thing, the way this tax cut would work, it would mostly benefit higher income retirees. People who already have other sources of income would see the biggest tax breaks, while lower income retirees wouldn't see as much of a change. So the big question is, how would the government make up for that lost revenue? Some lawmakers are proposing shifting money from other government programs, but that would just create funding issues elsewhere. Others say that the shortfall could be covered by increasing payroll taxes on current workers, which means younger generations could end up paying more. This all goes back to the same issue: Social Security is running out of money, and there's no easy fix. So what can you do? First, if you're currently receiving benefits or planning to in the near future, stay informed. Changes can happen quickly, and you want to be ahead of them. If you're still working, now is the time to think about other sources of retirement income. Whether that's increasing your 401k contributions, opening a Roth IRA, or just making sure you have some extra savings set aside, relying only on Social Security isn't a safe bet. Another thing you can do is make your voice heard. If this is something that concerns you, reach out to your representatives. Lawmakers pay attention when their constituents start speaking up. The bottom line here is that Social Security isn't disappearing overnight, but it is facing challenges. Whether it's potential cuts to the administration, concerns about data security, or the long-term funding shortfall, these are things that affect all of us. So, what do you think? Do you trust that Social Security is safe, or are you worried about what might happen next? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.